I personally don't believe that being a Christian interferes with being a leftist. And as a matter of fact, neither does being a Jewish person or a Hindu person or a Muslim person detract someone from being a left-winger. And I want to explain why very quickly in this video. Very simply, to be a theist is to believe in the existence of a God. And that is really it. To be a left-winger is to believe in some form of aversion to capitalism and to, this modern day kind of right-wing culture that we have, as in being against reactionary ideas and thoughts. And I believe that in the root of all reactionary beliefs is the idea of the Übermensch and the Untermensch. The whole idea is to create two separate classes of people under the right-wing ideology to class society up and to maintain these structures. We as leftists understand that in order to be left-wing, you have to see past capitalism, you have to see past imperialism, and you have to basically have the correct positions on these different issues because they affect human lives. In the Bible, I want to make this about Christianity, even though it applies to all religions because I'm personally a Christian. Jesus mentioned that if you really are a follower of mine and you really believe in me, you would give away your possessions to help out the poor. And in many instances in the book of Acts, especially in the first few chapters, the early church basically acted like a de facto commune, even though it wasn't officially a commune in the modern sense. Christians were one of the first people in Europe to actually build hospitals. It was a Christian idea at the time, as well as we can see in the Bible there is a clear hatred for the love and the desire of money. The whole idea is that money and possessions will not buy you salvation, and that being a good and moral, virtuous person is more important. I understand that Vosh and people who think like him have this view that to believe in something that is not empirical opens a doorway, so to speak, for bad opinions or untrue bad faith opinions, or even if you are acting in good faith, beliefs that can actually contradict with leftist beliefs. And for example, in America, the Christian right has really taken over. And whether you want to talk about how they interpret the Bible, the one thing the few things I agree with Vosh on is that you have to look at more their actions and less what they say they believe. Someone can say they believe in something, but if they act different, you have to look at the action and how it affects others. And they are so against homosexuality. I shouldn't say it like that. They are so against the LGBTQ community that they are putting up laws that would discriminate against them. As a Christian, what I believe to be the proper kind of Christian, I don't believe in discriminatory laws. I'm also bisexual. I'm both a Christian and a bisexual and a left-wing person. What does that say about me? On one hand, I have a whole group of people who would accept me in their leftist communities, but be very cautious because they believe that by virtue of me being a Christian, I could hold some reactionary belief, or I could try to spin the conversation more towards some kind of Christian faith value, which could actually very easily lead to nationalism, which I very much understand. On the other hand, I have Christians talking to me about how my bisexual desires are demonic, in fact. So, what am I really supposed to do with that? If I look into the Bible, I can very clearly see that Jesus cares more about the salvation of my soul and whether I'd go to heaven or hell, more so than if I'm gay or straight. And I don't personally believe that being gay or being part of the LGBTQ or being trans is in any way immoral or bad or harmful. In fact, I champion transgenders. I should not say it like that. I apologize. Transgender individuals and people of all stripes and colors to go to a church or to read a Bible or to try and explore God and Jesus more. That is very much my Christian bias. I apologize. You will not see this side of me very often. However, perhaps next time I'll put a disclaimer that my Christian bias will show. And what am I trying to get at here? What I'm trying to get at here is that it is not good for Christians to judge people based on how they are. We are not meant to do that. We are meant to go and to talk to them about the Bible, to talk to them about Jesus. Yes, but also to give the people the help and resources they need to make their lives as good as possible, helping people out of poverty, supporting and championing those who are on the brink of scientific discoveries in medicine, in all areas of life. We want to bring that kind of happiness to people. And since we're not doing that, we're not really doing God's will. And who am I to say, oh, you are wrong for being gay, when, for example, I went and I jerked myself off to hentai just last night? I'm a hypocrite. How can you go and lust after girls in your heart, like Jesus said is wrong, and then judge people for being gay? How can you take steroids and judge someone for being transgender? These things, all these personal issues, should remain personal. But as a Christian, you have one duty: talk to people about salvation and baptizing them in the Holy Spirit. Now, I'm going to switch gears a little back to leftism. I'm a Marxist. And by that, I do not mean to say that I put Lenin and Stalin on a pedestal. In fact, I'm not a fan of the Soviet Union or China whatsoever. And I believe that they were very much closer to fascism than to communism. With that said, and I need to be very clear about this, a lot of Christians died fighting against totalitarian regimes. They were persecuted fighting against the Soviet government, whether you agree with all of their motives or not, whether all of their motives were good or not. That's not the area I'm focusing on. And in Nazi Germany, a lot of them were actually fighting against the Nazi German rule. And one myth about Nazi Germanism that I want to correct is that they pull their sources for religiosity wherever they can, from Hinduism to Christianity, which they reframed and recreated as positive Christianity to meet their agenda, and to racialize religion. To them, to fascism, truth doesn't exist or matter, right? We all agree on that. So they will use any aesthetic possible to reach that end. Think about that in today. I spoke earlier about how the American National Christian Right is stripping all rights away. I believe that their Christianity is hollow and only an aesthetic. Talk to any of them for 1 hour, for a long time. They will ramble, and they are not coherent whatsoever. I've seen too many debates on YouTube where they just break down and you can see and hear their pride. With that said, being a Christian and being a leftist do not contradict, and they should not contradict if you want to do both of them right. And my one advice to do that is to actually go deeper into your faith if you are a religious person. I've been focusing on Christianity, but I find that people who actually are more genuine in their faith, and not from a material perspective, but from a real personal striving for, for God, these people are gonna eventually become more open and more loving to others, because they're gonna be transformed by the positive messages in those religions. And with that said, study politics. Study as much about politics as you can. Believe me, it's going to make sense. I understand it's a contradiction, and it's going to be very difficult for all of you or some of you to accept this. And I know the words I'm saying seem like it should be the opposite of reality. How the heck can you grow more into religiosity and then be a more kind and loving person? Studies have shown that, in fact, the people who are less church attending but self-identify as Christian are more likely to be far right leaning or conservative. Christians who regularly attend church tend to be more liberal and more, even in some case, left wing. I believe that we should be building bridges and not burning them. And we should try to reach out as many people as possible. Because the thing is, you guys, the top leftist thinkers on YouTube and on the internet, you have a golden opportunity to create an alternative for Christians other than nationalism, other than reactionary Christianity. And by creating the option, we can actually break away and chip away at the Christian right and weaken them. Because I will not live for the day that my country becomes a Nazi country. I will not stand for that. Signing off.